Hi, I'm Morgana. Best welcome to my channel, Authors Selling Direct. This time it's my October question and answer session. I've asked people on my Facebook group, Authors Selling Direct, same name, to ask me questions, and each month I'll do that and I'll answer them here. The first question is from Elaine, and she says, any tips for pricing or marketing for bundling ebooks on Shopify? Well, for a start, we usually don't have such a good markup for print books as we do for ebooks. So always try to have at least a $5 markup after you give them a discount. And don't go crazy with the discount like you could with a bundle of ebooks. You could give them half. If you did that with paperbacks, you'd have nothing left. But people are used to paying more for paperbacks anyway. They will typically quite happy do it. So you could give them, say, 10% for a bundle, but often they're not so much discount driven with paperbacks. So you could bundle a whole series, for example. If you have a 20-book series, still offer it. It's not going to hurt you. But if you have a 6-book series, they're more likely to buy. But I have one student who has like 30 series books, and libraries buy whole books from her at a time. And that's right, at retail price. Don't think this won't happen, because it does. And as an aside, I'll often see authors on Facebook groups saying, in my opinion, this won't work, when it's actually happening. Like someone might say, your Labrador won't make it up your stairs. My Labrador makes it up my stairs several times a day. So in e-commerce, we're dealing with evidence. We don't deal with what Fred Blogs thinks, because evidence outweighs opinion. Now, the next question is from, and by the way, still back on that subject of bundling paperbacks, you could, if you are using a third-party printer and it won't work with the bundling app, for example, and BookVault, as I say this now in mid-October 2023, is introducing bundling in literally any minute within the next week. But meanwhile, you can also send them advertise to a pre-filled checkout, if that's what you like, with every book in your series in it. And as I said, people do buy a whole series at a time. It's not going to hurt you to offer it. It's no skin off your nose to offer a lot of bundles. Now, the next question is from Stephen. When running Facebook sales ads, do you find it better to advertise the store as a whole, or should you run ads to a specific book or product? You can't run a sales ad to your store as a whole. That's more of an awareness ad. You have to run a sales ad to a specific product, and then you choose the event, and you want purchase, not add to cart. You want purchase, and that's pretty much it. So always run it. But again, don't run it to a single ebook, because say a Facebook ad costs you $25 per purchase. Well, that would be absolutely horrible if you were running an ad to a $6.99 ebook, but that would be absolutely wonderful if you were running an ad to a $300 purse. So you see what I'm getting at? Always offer bundles in Facebook ads, never a single little product. It won't work. Now, also on the question of Facebook ads, Rupert has asked a question about the structure of Facebook ads. Should sales ads be narrow or broad targeting? And should you select all placements? Gosh, this is one of my favorite subjects. Now, yes, broad targeting, not narrow targeting. Narrow targeting went out with the Dark Ages, or even when dinosaurs were still on the earth, people were using narrow targeting for Facebook ads. Now, it is all over the Facebook groups that someone said a new guru has descended from the stars and is telling everyone he has made a wonderful discovery of broad targeting. But everyone else has known about it for years. So all that aside, yes, broad targeting. Of course, it's harder with traffic ads. Like these are for sales ads. It is harder for traffic ads. A lot of people advise narrow targeting for traffic ads, and I'll tell you why. Those of you who know me know I cannot stand traffic ads. They're great. You have to use them for selling on the retailers because you don't have the retailer's pixel. There's nothing you can do. you have to use traffic ads. You can't use sales ads on the retailers because Amazon is not going to say, here you go, here's my pixels. You can use these. You're not Amazon. If you want to advertise to Amazon, you have to run a traffic ad. You cannot run a sales ad. You run sales ads to your own stores. Never, never, never run a traffic ad to your store under any circumstances. I was listening to someone the other day, very high-powered media buyer, and he said, if somebody tells you to use a traffic ad in e-commerce, either they don't know what they're doing or they're trying to sell you something. When I stopped laughing, I muttered to myself, yes, that's absolutely true. So why would you use narrow targeting for traffic ads to the retailers, never sales ads? The reason is because traffic ads are not for buyers. You could fix that. You could work on these ads till you were blue on the face. You could optimize, but they're for clickers. They're for people who will click. Now, there is a setting where you can choose you want people who will click the learn more or the shop now link rather than just like the ad. There is a setting where you can do that. But basically, they're for people who will like. They are people who are going to like and engage. They're not people who are buying. Facebook isn't magic. It's not a magic wizard. If you say to Facebook, I want a sales ad with a purchase event, Facebook will go out and do its utmost best to find you purchases at the lowest price possible to you. If you say to Facebook, I want you to go, I'm doing a traffic ad, Facebook's like, right, I will go out and find people who will like your ad. Facebook thinks you don't want buyers if you're telling them you're doing a traffic ad. Once again, you don't have a choice because you have to do traffic ads to the retailers. You don't have a choice. You don't have the pixel, completely unlike sales ads. So there's the problem. So if you're doing it wide, you might stumble on some luck and it might work for you. But on the other hand, it mightn't, because if it's wide, you've got a big pool of people who are going to like your ad. And that's why most people for ages, even though Facebook always advises wide targeting, that's why a lot of people for traffic ads will advise to use narrow targeting, because it narrows the pool of people who are going to simply like your ad and not buy. So can you see the problem? There's a problem with traffic ads because, as I said, no matter how much you optimize a traffic ad, it is only going to be for people who like it. It maybe click through, but it's not for buyers. Facebook is not looking for buyers for you. And there'd be a lot of people out there who are curious and click. They don't have any intention of buying. You'd never know. Facebook would never know. Well, Facebook knows they're not buyers because you're doing a traffic ad. So Facebook doesn't think you want buyers. And that's the way it works. And so Rupert says, do we select all placements? Yes, for sales ads. No, for traffic ads, really. Because with traffic ads, lots of people will just randomly click. Bots will click. People will click by mistake. So that's why you've got to be more careful with traffic ads, because Facebook is only looking for people who will like or click. But when you do a sales ad with a purchase event, Facebook is looking for people who will actually buy. And that's the bottom line. That's the difference. My next question is from Laurie. Should I take my time setting up my Shopify store? Or should I just put up my books and start paid advertising? Does it really matter? Yes, I love this question. Yes, it really matters. Anyone could put up a Shopify store, really. Anyone could just go get Shopify, whack up a store and be on their merry way thinking, oh, this is really good. I've got a Shopify store. Can't tell you the number of times people have said to me, I want to do your course. I want to know about Facebook ads. I want to know about Klaviyo, but I don't need to know about Shopify because my store is already set up. And then I go and look at their Shopify store and I mutter some horribly rude words to myself, which as a cozy author, I'm glad nobody can hear me, because their stores I don't have polite words. They're not going to convert. They're terrible. They've got so many basic issues. Issue. Anyone can set up a Shopify store. Anyone could set up a brick and mortar store. Can you imagine the difference? If you walk down the street, you see some horrible ones, you see some nice ones. Just having a store doesn't mean it's going to sell, doesn't mean it's going to convert. It could be ghastly or it could be fantastic. There's no point running any paid advertising to your store if your store is crap. That's the bottom line. You just can't do it. Well, you can, but you're not going to make any money. What's the point? I see so many people tell me their Facebook ads, they say, I'd like to do your course, but Facebook ads haven't worked for me before. And it's, show me your store. And it's like, well, there's your problem. Without even looking at the Facebook ads, there's your problem. And as I've said in my other video about Facebook being part of the jigsaw, Facebook ads work with Klaviyo and work with the look of your store. They don't work by themselves. They have to come into your store and it has to be a good store. So if you're running a Facebook ad that you might think is break even, a blended ROAS is important. So that's return on ad spend. So people might say, it cost me $20 to run an ad to my $20 book bundle, therefore I'm not making any profit, I'm breaking even. But a blended ROAS takes into account the other sales that come through that. Say somebody buys your $20 book bundle and 5 out of 10 people will also buy a cross sell of another $15 or $30. They might, and 2 people out of 10 might go and take up your post-purchase upsell, which could be $15 to $20. So you've got to take all that into account. So you should have your flows in place, a browse abandonment flow to pick up somebody who lands on your store from your Facebook ad, maybe doesn't buy, or somebody who adds to cart but doesn't start checkout. Also a flow in place for somebody who does commence checkout but doesn't follow through with purchase, and various other flows as well. These all work in concert with Facebook ads. So it's not like running a traffic ad to the retailer where everything is just that one Facebook ad and you're hanging out for that to work. When you're running an e-commerce store, Facebook ads work with other things like how your store looks, how your store converts. Your product page is super important. And Facebook also works with your flows, your email and SMS flows. So this is super important. You just can't look at a ROAS, return on ad spend, of just what your product cost you and what the Facebook ad cost you, because it is cost of customer acquisition when you are running a sales ad, whereas you don't worry about customer acquisition with a traffic ad because you don't own a single customer when you're selling on the retailers. Oh, this is a funny one. Tom, do I need to pay sales tax? Will they ever catch me? Oh gosh, let me tell you a little story. I used to be married to somebody who was very high up in the tax department in Australia, and I don't mean he was on the 30th floor. He was in compliance, and that was a polite way of saying they are ones who track down tax evaders and prosecute them. And I can't tell you the number of dinner parties I went to, and I was the only non-tax person there because they typically married each other. And they were all rolling around with laughter about everyone they'd caught for tax evasion. The whole talk was tax evasion. All I ever heard, tax evasion this, tax evasion that. All the people they caught, they thought it was hilarious. They loved it when tax agents weren't good at their job and they could go and prosecute, and that these compliance people could prosecute them. They loved it. I mean, it was their job, but they really loved it. Like, they were full on excited about it, about catching people. Little story aside, if you don't pay tax, it's called tax evasion. Do you think there's any government out there that is going to let you evade tax, whether it's income tax or sales tax? Governments do not like people who don't pay tax. They will get you. They will come and get you. Don't think you can hide under a rock. You can't plead ignorance. Governments, if there's one thing about governments, they like being paid tax. If you want to look for income tax loopholes that are legal, fantastic. I'm all for that. Don't you worry. But sales tax, you have to pay it. You don't have a choice. It's not optional. It's not like, well, I don't know if I should bother paying sales tax. No one will catch me. Yeah, they might. They could well do. Do you pay income tax? Do you not pay income tax because you think they won't catch you? You have to be legal when you're running an e-commerce business. You have to be legal. So many times people have said to me, if I steal someone's copyright on their reviews, although they don't put it that way, but that's what they're doing, who's going to know? Who's going to catch me? I hear this all the time. Why would you do something illegal when you can easily do something legal? It's not a good idea. Don't try to evade tax, whether it's income tax or sales tax. And by the way, they're nothing to do with each other. People say, like a lot of Aussies will say, do I have to fill out a W8 Ben for selling on Shopify? No, that's income tax. That's income tax for selling through a retailer. Nothing to do with direct sales where you own the business. So yes, you have to pay tax. I'm sorry to say, you have to pay sales tax. And another, I think the first most confusing thing is people mix up sales tax with income tax. The next most confusing thing for people with sales tax for authors is that people think sales tax is to do with where you live. Like they say, oh, you live in Australia, you don't have to pay sales tax. Well, for a start, I pay Australian GST, but that's like, I suppose, irrelevant to what I'm telling you. It's where the seller lives. If you sell one audiobook into the UK, you have to register for and you have to pay sales tax. You have to. And don't think you won't get caught, because Shopify does shut down stores, people who are caught for tax fraud, and it is called tax fraud. Now, there are lots of apps that can help with this. You don't need to panic. And as I said, every business in the world deals with sales tax, except for obviously some author sites who are trying to get away with it and not get caught. But everyone else in the world has to pay sales tax. Every business you see out there is dealing with international sales tax. If you're in America and you have physical nexus in a state, you have to pay sales tax. But other states for other people also, and those people as well. But if you're not in a state with physical nexus and you're not an American, if you're over a threshold in a certain American state, you have to pay sales tax. Same with a couple of Canadian provinces. And it's different all over the world. But you do have to pay sales tax. Most have thresholds, a lot don't. But the good news is on Shopify, you can block most places, and there is an app to block a couple of Canadian provinces or American states, quite a reasonably priced app. I also use EAS, EU and UK compliance app for UK and EU sales tax, which is very reasonably priced. So you can get around it that way. When I say get around it, you pay it, but you physically don't have to do it yourself. You pay someone else to do it. You pay an app to do it, and it's very reasonably priced. EAS, you have an option of paying it monthly, but if you don't want to do that, you simply have the choice. You can have a tiny amount taken out of your purchase for any taxable purchase, nothing to do with the other purchases in your store. So, but yes, you do have to pay sales tax. That's like saying, do I have to pay income tax? You have to pay income tax. You have to pay sales tax. It's not optional. The government doesn't say to you, would you like to pay income tax? And you say no, and they go, no worries, see you later. Good luck. No, they'll come and get you. They will get you. You have to be legal. Do you go and rob a bank? Do you go and rob a bank and say, I don't think they'll catch me because I'm wearing a mask and it's in a small town where there aren't many police? No, you don't, do you? Well, I hope you don't. But unless you're a criminal, then you should pay sales tax. And you should pay income tax. It's not optional. You have to pay it. Be wary of anyone who tells you dodgy information. Now from Jane. What apps do I need for my Shopify store? Well, I've already mentioned this is always a tongue twister for me, EAS, EU and UK compliance app. It doesn't help me that they changed their name when they included the UK, but all that aside, they are a fantastic app. I will give you the link below. I'm not an affiliate. Don't get a red cent or a brass razoo from them, as my father used to say, but they are an excellent app. I can't recommend them highly enough. They will help you with EU and UK sales tax. Now, the other apps, Klaviyo or Omnisend, I personally like Klaviyo. Forget you're selling on retailer newsletter lists. In my view, they don't have a snowballs. It's chalk and cheese. You need an e-commerce specialist app, and you need one that can do SMS marketing. So I use Klaviyo. I use and recommend Klaviyo for that. You need a review app. I use Looks. I like it the best. I've tried a few. It's a very good one, and it won't offer to pull your reviews from Amazon, because that is a no-no as well, where we've just been speaking about legalities, because the reviewer owns the copyright. Now, please don't be a nitpicker and tell me that Amazon has reviewers. Of course, Amazon has reviewers. That's Amazon. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So anyway, don't give me any nitpicking comments. Just trust me, or you don't have to trust me. Google it for yourself. Google it for yourself. If you can't find it, Google it harder. Ask a relative to Google it for you. But the fact remains, and I didn't make it up, and it's not my opinion, that the reviewer owns the copyright. If you put a review on your store without somebody's permission, you're breaching their copyright. Again, I've heard people say, who will catch you? Just go and rob a bank and say, who will catch you? Let's move on. Okay. I use Reconvert as a post-purchase upsell. The thank you page I'll put the link below for that as well. That is an affiliate link, but it gives you a big discount as well. I'll link to Luke's as well. That is an affiliate link, but you get a 30-day free trial and a big discount from them. I've used a few post-purchase upsells. I like Reconvert. It's really clever. It can do all sorts of super clever things. And with your thank you page, that's got pretty much 100% open rate. So why wouldn't you offer someone something on that page? It's money you wouldn't have had anyway. Offer them an ebook. You're not going to lose anything. You could even offer it for 50% off a bundle, of course, because you want your average order value up high, and do that. I also like frequently bought together. I have it on all my stores, and that's when someone's on your product page down the bottom, have frequently bought together, and I always do a manual bundle. So, for example, if they've bought book 1 in the series, I might offer them the other books in the series, if it's a shorter series, not if it's a 20-book series. But if they buy a bundle, I'll offer them the next couple of bundles in the series, and so on, and give them a discount and say, save 10% or 15%, whatever percent by buying the bundle. Now, I've got to tell you this. Shopify templates are set up. They don't know what sort of business is going to come along. So they offer you lots of options. It doesn't mean you should take them all up. They're options. They're not like a prompt that, oh, yes, you must fill in this field. Like our mission. I see a lot of authors filling in our mission. There's no need to do that unless you're a non-fiction author maybe, or something like that. But for fiction, get rid of it. You don't want people to see too much on your page. You don't want to give them too much of a choice. You want them to be able to focus on buying, not all this other stuff. Now, another thing too, Shopify will have, you might also like down the bottom, get rid of it, because if you've got frequently bought together or an app like that, you don't want to give them 2 sets of choices. You just want them to have one choice. Get rid of it, hide it, go into your theme customization and hide it. So many times I see people with stores, and I see people wrongly advising it as well, to throw everything at the Facebook page. You don't take up every option. You've got to edit it out. Like you edit your book, you also edit your product page. Think of it like that. Interior designers talk about editing rooms. They say this should be taken out, that should be taken out, that should be changed. The same with the Shopify store. Just because, say for a bedroom, you could have 5 cushions on your bed, would you put 50 just because it could take 50 cushions? No, that would be crazy. You see where I'm going with this? Do you put 85 bedroom chairs in your room because they would fit? No, you don't. You have to pull back. You have to be restrained. The purpose of your product page is to sell. The The purpose of your product page is not to fit as much content on as you possibly can. Remember that. That's a good tip if I do say so myself. Oh, yes, I've already answered Jane's question. Pat has asked, is it a good idea to run ads to free books in my store? I hate free. Oh, she's got another question. All right, I'll start with this question first, because these are my last two questions. And it's also from Pat. Should I price books in my store for less than Amazon? No, definitely not. 100%, never do that. No. Oh, gosh, no. Price them the same. Price them the same as Amazon. You're going to be offering a discount in your pop-up. You're going to be offering discounts in your ads. So you need that price a bit higher to start with. The trouble, okay, let's get into author mindset. Author mindset, everyone's focused on Amazon. We're authors. Amazon has consumed most of our lives. Amazon. Even if you're wired, it's probably your biggest retailer. Everyone's Amazon-centric. But Amazon is not the whole of the e-commerce world. But most authors' thoughts are processed through the filter of Amazon, the context of Amazon. Amazon is the context that looms large in authors' minds. But not so in consumers. Do not price your books lower than Amazon, bottom line. Never. When you offer a bundle, of course, Amazon doesn't do bundles like that. You can offer bundles and you can do it for less, sure. But that's a bundle and there is no comparative product on Amazon like that. But never price an individual ebook lower than Amazon. You could with paperbacks if you're making a lot less anyway. Maybe if you're not selling many on Amazon, you could hike the price up to make your store look better if you wished, but it doesn't really matter. But for ebooks, definitely don't price them lower. I mean, with paperbacks, you can make so much more profit if you're, for example, using Bookfold, or if you're having them printed in China, for example. So you don't hike them up to meet Amazon is what I'm trying to say. But don't price lower than Amazon thinking it will make people come to your store. It won't. Cold audiences are not so much driven by discount. That's how you get your hot audiences, but not your cold audiences. Now, I've forgotten Pat's question, sorry. Gosh, is it a good idea to run ads to free books in my store? No, and do you know why? Because you should not have a free book in your store. I know, okay, this is going to make people really angry. But you don't have to watch me. You don't have to subscribe to my channel. You don't have to listen to me. If you want to go and stuff up your store, it won't hurt me. It's not going to hurt me. But I'm telling you this, do not have anything free in your store. Don't have free in your store. It's a terrible idea. It's going to mess up your pixel horrendously. It's going to be dreadful for your pixel. You see, your pixel needs to go out and look for people who are going to buy. And that's not going to happen if your pixel thinks people who are freebie seekers. Now, I know, I'm not saying free is not good for the retailers. It's a loss leader. The retailers love you to have free books because it's at your expense you're taking people to them. It's not their expense. Why do you think Amazon doesn't have permanently free books unless they have to match a perma-free? That's why, because it's not a good idea to have freebie seekers coming into your store. In fact, it's a terrible idea. You want them to buy. I know this is not the author mentality because as authors, we're always trained, like people who have free books will say, I've made money. Yes, you're going to make money in the short term, but it's going to wreck your business in the long term. I can tell you that for a fact. And if some seven-figure business person who's had seven figures for a while on Amazon comes along and says, free works for me, that's fine. But it's not going to work sustainably long term because when you're running an e-commerce business, you need sales. You want purchases. You want Facebook to go and look for people who will buy. Now, there's a lot of wishful thinking in the selling on the retailer world. For example, people want to have mailing lists as big as possible. They would never know if those people bought. Those people might have a high click-through rate. I did an experiment about a year ago. I personally emailed a whole lot of people who had high click-through rates, and I asked them which books of mine they had bought. And I was surprised, most of them said they'd never bought. And these were my highest click-through rate people. And these were often people who would respond to my email and were super chatty, and I would take like a few days to answer them all. They had never bought from me, or they might have had a cheap or a free book on a BookBub ad from me, but they hadn't bought, and they weren't regular buyers, but they were just curious or interested, I guess, but they weren't buyers. Now, when you have Klaviyo, an e-commerce list, it will tell you exactly how many people have bought. You can go and see what each customer has bought when they're on your store, what they bought from you, or if they just looked and they haven't bought. You can see all this. You get cold, hard facts. You get cold, hard data. But when you have a selling on retailer list like MailerLite, MailChimp, etc., you don't know, unless that person actually emails you and says, I bought blah, 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 you don't know if they've bought. But the author thinking is, I'll do free giveaways, I'll do free books. Hopefully someone will read my book, even though they might have 65,000 books on their Kindle. They're still going to read through my book, and then hopefully they'll buy the rest of the series. And of course, people do have success with that. And that's why some of the retailers like it, like Apple, for example, loves having first in series free. It works on Google. Kobo doesn't so much like it, but it can also work on Barnes & Noble. So it's difficult, isn't it? Because some retailers don't like it, some do. But when you're selling direct, you don't have free books because you don't want freebie seekers. Like, when do you buy from an online store and they give away free? Like, I've got a few Oodies, but they've never given me one for free, I can assure you of that. And like, I buy online tea and coffee and stuff. They don't send me a whole jar for free. I don't get free clothes. I don't get free anything else. What other industry out there gives you so much free stuff? No, it's an author thing. It's an author selling on retailers thing. Leave free at the retailers. I know this is going to make a lot of people angry. I don't know why, but people are very, very strange about free. I have found authors get very upset when I say free isn't a good idea. Don't get upset. Just don't listen to me and go and do your own thing, because it's not hurting me if you don't listen to me and you want to put everything in your store for free. But I, for one, like making money. Don't do it, is the bottom line of what I'm saying. Do not offer anything for free in your store. And don't say, oh, it helps people figure out the process. I'm sure they're clever enough to figure out the process without you giving them something for free. Hot and besides, cold audiences have already figured it out, or they can figure it out. You're talking about your readers. Give them a discount then. Give your warm and hot audiences on your other list, on your retailer list, a discount if they want to figure things out. So here's a discount. I have a new store, come here. This is on sale for you. Use this discount or whatever. But don't give them anything for free. You want buyers. You're not the Red Cross. You're not a charity. You don't want to give anyone anything for free. You want buyers. You want buyers in your store. I think I'll do a whole video on free, which might be a bit scary because people, for me, not for you, because people really don't like it when you say free doesn't work. Because people will say, oh, free worked for me. I'm paying a fortune on Klaviyo because I've got 200,000 subscribers all through my free books, or because of my free books. How many buyers do you have? It doesn't matter. People have said to me, I've hit #1 free on Amazon. I'm like, how much money did it make you? There's read through, but you want the money in your hot little hand, don't you? Let's let go of the wishful thinking and let's get the cold, hard cash. It's the whole wannabe thing. Like, maybe if I have a list of X amount, some of these people will eventually buy. Get rid of them. You're paying for them. You just want the buyers and you want them now. Forget this wishful thinking, in the future stuff. Anyway, I will do a video on that later. But for now, they're the only questions I have and I've answered them. Please like and subscribe. and be watching for my next video, which I think I will be brave and put on why free is evil. Avoid it like the plague. Forget free. Bye for now.